Hello, my name's Emma Cockrell. I'm a registered nutritional therapist and I've been working with natural foods, teaching cookery classes for whole food and vegetarian diets for over the last 40 years. So today I'd like to show you a very simple bread alternative, a flat bread that can be eaten with soups or alongside salads or as an accompaniment to a main meal. It just takes two basic ingredients: chickpea flour or lentil flour and some water. That's all, pretty much. We can then season that up a little bit and make it a little bit more interesting, or keep it plain. It's up to you to find out how you prefer this dish. Chickpea flour, very, very versatile. It's available in most supermarkets now in the international aisle, and I always have some in the cupboard. It's useful as an egg alternative in baked recipes for eggs, things like some cakes, or where you want to bind and use egg for binding. So if I'm making patties or burgers or kebabs with either meat or vegetables, and you'd normally use an egg there to bind, if you haven't got an egg, you can use a tablespoon of chickpea flour and a tablespoon of water, and that gives nice binding qualities. So this is chickpea flour, sometimes called gram flour, sometimes called besan or besan. So you can see what your supermarket has, and this is interchangeable with lentil flour. You could use that as well, depending on what you've got. So all you need is 1 cup, or equal parts of flour to water. So 1 cup of chickpea flour to 1 cup of water. And we'll whisk that together well, get rid of those lumps. There we are. Whisk it until it's nice and smooth. Sometimes the flour can be a little bit lumpy and take a while, but this is breaking down quite nicely. So that's our basic ingredients. That's all we need to do, but we're going to make it a little bit more interesting. You can add a little bit of salt, so I suggest you either use a low salt, which is a potassium-sodium balance if you want to keep your sodium levels down, or just a pinch of pink Himalayan salt there, which has got lots of other lovely nutrients as well as the sodium in there, which we generally want to be keeping minimal. Good quality salt is okay in the small amounts, but we don't want to be having all the added sodiums that's in the ready meals and the packaged meals and all the foods that are ready prepared that we can buy. So a little pinch of salt, and we can leave it there. We can say that's enough, or we can make things a little bit more interesting. I particularly like to add to this some cumin seeds, tiny little cumin seeds there. These are the last few I had in my cupboard. So we want about half a teaspoon of those. You can leave those out if you want. I particularly like to use onion granules, dried onion. That brings a savoury flavour through. And again, just about half a teaspoon or so. And I'm going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of dried garlic in there as well. You could use a crushed clove of fresh garlic. And then I've got some basic mixed herbs, and I'm going to use about 1/3 teaspoon. These are very, very rough measures. You can just see how much you like. It's just going to bring out a savoury flavour into that. Now we then want to add a very, very small amount of oil, and that helps to keep this flatbread from being too dry. So I've got here some melted coconut oil, so I'm just going to put a teaspoon of melted coconut oil. You can use olive oil as well, that works really well. If you're cooking with olive oil, you want to keep the temperature at 180 degrees or lower. Coconut oil, you can take that temperature a little bit higher if you like. So then get your baking tray. I've done this recipe previously and it's on the blog at www.nutritionhelp.com, and I talked about doing it in a cast iron pan, and you bring the oven up very, very hot. But I found that this actually works just as well. Any pan, put a little bit of baking parchment there, non-stick baking parchment, which will make your life a bit easier getting it out at the end of cooking. And then just drizzle with a little bit of oil. And then pour the batter onto that. And let it take whatever shape it wants. You're going to just break this into portions. So I used half a cup of flour, half a cup of water, but you can use a full cup. Obviously that's going to serve more portions. And then just drizzle a little bit of oil over the top. And if you like, you could sprinkle a few more of those cumin seeds over the top as well. There we are. And then that goes into the oven for 180 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's beginning to crisp at the edges. It can still be soft in the middle, but beginning to be crisp at the edges. And you can take that out and then serve it alongside a salad or a soup or as a side. I've got one here that I baked earlier, and I was baking this as I was preparing, and it's a little bit, perhaps a little bit more well done than I'd normally cook, but this then breaks. Serve it warm. It's really delicious when it's warm. Serve that alongside a soup or a salad. If you keep it less well done, slightly less done than this one, you can then bend it over and make it almost like a sandwich. And this is great for those people who are following a yeast-free diet and have to avoid yeast in bread. This is a very simple bread to just rustle up very quickly. You can also make it like a pancake, so rather than baking it, just pop it with a little bit of oil in a frying pan and cook it for a couple of minutes, both sides. That amount of mixture would do several pancakes. And then you've got an even quicker bread accompaniment for your meals. So I hope you found that interesting. Something to try, very, very simple. And don't forget, you can pick up chickpea flour in most supermarkets in the international aisle. Hopefully you can still find it. But once you've got it in the cupboard, it will last for a long, long time. And then you've got it there ready to make a quick, easy bread, or as I mentioned, as an egg replacement. And in future demonstrations, I'll be showing you how to use chickpea flour just as an egg replacement in certain recipes. So thank you for watching, keep well, and see you again soon. Bye bye for now.